What is going on, world? Welcome back to Aqua Malik. It's another zebra Pleco video, yes, back to back, and this one is about something that's quite important that is not related to breeding or fry raising. Now, in this video, we're going to be looking at deformed zebra Plecos, in particular, a snub nose. What is a snub nose?
Produced by Malik.
So, there's a very popular video on YouTube called The King of Corridors and Plecos, and if you look at the video, you will know exactly what I'm talking about. The front image of that video, as well as the fish that they show off in the video, is a deformed fish. It's a snub-nosed zebra Pleco. I actually have one of these guys in the fish room that I purchased a few years back as a test fish so that I can test my incoming zebra Plecos when I buy new fish to see if they have no issues or stuff like that. So I will put some B-roll footage of my snub-nosed fish that I own so you guys can compare it to a normal fish. I'll also put some video footage of and pictures of healthy looking fish that I've bred myself, as well as some of the healthy looking fish that I have in my collection, so that you guys can compare it to some of the other fish out there and see the differences between a healthy looking normal zebra and a deformed cheap fish. Okay, now the problem with the snub-nosed fish is we don't actually know what causes it. As a collective, there's no real definitive answers. Everybody has their own theory. Some of the leading theories include bad water quality, which I think is one of the reasons. High nitrates, ammonia spikes and nitrite spikes once the fry are in the fry ring or when they're small. So bad water quality being one of them. And also improper water conditions, so like maybe the water TDS is too high, the calcium carbonates are too high, or not enough nutrition in their food, not enough calcium in their diet, in the parents' diet. The eggs didn't develop properly, the dad fish crushing the eggs in the cave too much, so the wrong type of cave to be used. They could be inside the breeder ring and the fry tumbler for too long, so they get deformed in that. Could be the breeder ring, could be all kinds of things, right? These are all leading theories, and none of these have been definitively proven. And I've bred over 500 different Plecos in the last 12 months. So I actually have about 500 to 600 different Plecos that I bred, and I don't have a single snub-nosed fish in my collection, except for the one that I bought. So none of the fish I bred became snub-nosed. They were all in clean water, but they were in fry rings, they were in egg tumblers, they were in caves where the dad was pushing on them. So all these things happen to the fish, and I'm pretty sure there was times when I neglected the tank at least once or twice, and I don't have any issues with this. So I don't know what really causes it, but when it does happen, if it ever did happen, that fish would not be sold by me. Not to be crass or anything, but because a person, when they're buying the fish, you don't want them to accidentally breed this animal with their nice quality animals and then have the genetic mutation transfer over generations. So like what I believe at least is that this trait is not genetic. This is my belief, and there is some proof to this. They have tested it in some places and some people at least. But what I think is that if you breed a snub-nosed animal with a healthy animal and you get healthy fry, chances are those fry are going to carry the genetic marker for this trait. You know what I mean? Even if they're completely healthy looking. So you don't want to do that for yourself or somebody else, because the person buying your fish would not know that one of the parents is a snub-nose, and would not want that trait in their fry, which they would be getting in 3 years from the time they pick up the fry from you. So, it's a long-term investment, it's a lot of money, and so in that context, I think it's not good. Also, I believe pet stores, either by not having enough information or knowledge about this topic, or just simply based on greed, would sell these animals for full price. They can probably buy them for really cheap from a breeder who probably thinks they're not worth a lot, because if these things show up in their breeding program, they usually don't want to sell them for full price. They don't want to show them to other people, but they might sell it to a pet store for really cheap just because the pet store guy is their friend or somebody they know, whatever. And the pet store guy might triple their money or sell it to you at full price, this deformed animal that's not even worth 1/3 the value of what you're paying. So this is a big concern, and there's other things that we should look at in this regard. We will be looking at in the future, but for the purpose of this video, this could happen. So, I mean, there are ethical people out there, but you can't expect everybody to be like that. So what I would say is do your research, really look at the fish. If you are buying zebra plecos from a breeder, ask them to look at the parents. I would always want to see what the mom and dad of my fish are, if I can do that. And if I can't, I would want to see 100 fish together, and I would want to pick the nicest ones out of the 100. If I see even one snub-nosed fish out of that group, I'm not taking any fish. It's just like having ick. You know, if you go and look at a fish tank and there's 100 fish and 3 of the fish have ick, you're not going to take the healthy fish and bring them home, because you know those fish also have ick now. You know, so by the time you bring them home, they might start showing signs, and they might also have ick by the time you put them in your tank. My nose is really itchy. I don't know why. I think it's the dry weather in here. Like, it's really dry today. It's really cold. But anyways, coming back to the point, you don't want to have diseased fish. Same way you don't want to have deformed fish. So that's a really big concern, and I think that's one of the main things I want to talk about in this video. And I'll show you guys what my snub-nosed fish looks like, the one I bought a few years back. And I will show also what other healthy fish look like, so you guys can see. So really look at the fish, make sure it is not a snub nose, make sure it has all of its fins intact, nice little fork tail, like a C-shaped round tail, nice dorsal fin coming to a point, not clamped down, and also the caudal peduncle, or the fin that is right below the dorsal. I forgot what it's actually called, the scientific name. So there's a little dorsal snub on top right before the fin, the tail fin. So that has to be nice and erect, and no deformities, nothing missing out of that. You want to make sure of these things, because chances are, if they do have small issues, it's because of bad water or bacterial infections that they've gone through in the past and all this stuff. And although these fish could breed completely fine, they could also have some issues that you might not know. So you don't want to take that type of chance, especially when you're buying a really expensive fish. You know, these animals are like almost as much as a rent for most people, and you're expecting me to pay half of my rent to buy something that is not even perfect? That is ridiculous, right? So, you know, you want to really make sure you are getting the right quality fish. So really, really, really pay attention to that. And I don't subscribe buying these animals from pet stores. Pet stores are probably the worst place to buy high-end Plecos. Your best bet is a breeder or an importer. And if you are going to buy it from a pet store, please make sure that you are not getting duped by like these snub-nosed fish or deformed fish, or fish that have diseases or missing fins or missing something, or not properly labeled, just called you know, black and white hype ancestors, or, you know, like King Tiger Pleco, you know, whatever, or L236. Everything is L236 for pet stores. If you go to a pet store, try to buy a Pleco that has black and white lines, it's usually L236. It's not. It's not. It's usually not an L236, but they will label it as that so they can make more money. So there is all this type of things that happen. And also, I think another important thing I think I'm going to add to this video is not buying fish in the winter time or in the middle of summer. So, you know, my friend actually went through some ordeal recently, and it happens quite often, because if there's a mistake and the fish are delayed by 1 day, the heat pack dies and your fish are dead by the time you get them, or they're dying. You know, these animals cannot tolerate temperatures of 25, 24, 23 degrees long term. Anything below 24, 25, I would say they're going into thermic shock. And once the temperature gets to about 20 degrees, it's quite unlikely that they will come back to life. And if they do, then you're quite successful and you're a really good fish keeper. And then at that point, I would say, you know, you did really good with the situation, but you don't want to have that happen. You know, you don't want to buy 10 fish and 5 of them come dead and the other 5 are dying, which you might not even get a refund for, because they're alive by the time they get to you, right? Dead on arrival means they had to be dead by the time you get them. If they're still alive by the time you get them, you don't get nothing back. So again, I don't buy fish online because of this. I don't buy fish at a pet store because of the other issues and the diseases, and I don't buy fish, I don't ship fish or get fish imported in during winter time, because I don't want to take the chance of an issue happening and the fish being delayed for a day or two and them dying because of the cold weather and freezing to death and stuff like that. So this is what I'm going to leave you guys with. Really do your research, and it's a long-term investment. There's no rush to get these animals. You can always get them a month from now or 2 months from now. There's so many breeders, there's so much available. There's so many good ethical people out there breeding these animals, and there's no need to be duped. There's no need to be buying subpar animals, and there's no need to rush. So, you know, take your time and do it right, because you don't want to do it wrong. And if you do, then chances are most of the time you will not be able to recover from that mistake, because it will be so expensive for most people. So that's what I'm going to leave you guys with. I hope you guys are having a great Saturday. I'll see you on the next video. I love you all. God bless you all.